Hello, welcome to Wild Winter Women YouTube channel, episode 5. I'm Leah and this is Amber, and we're here tonight with a daily recording to talk about the Iditarod Trail Invitational, which is taking place right now in Alaska. Tonight is the evening of February 26th. Today was a very exciting day in the race. In my opinion, the most exciting news of the day is that we have a women's winner in the bike 350-mile race. And that's Lael Wilcox. And so she had an amazing finish. And we had a second place woman finisher in the 350-mile bike race, and that's Kate Coward. So in a little bit, we'll get to Lael, Kate, and the other racers who finished today. But first, let's hear from Amber, who's at the Nikolai checkpoint, which is about 50 or 60 miles before the 350-mile finish in McGrath. So she's at the checkpoint as a volunteer. So welcome, Amber. And how is everybody doing? What are you hearing?
It's good. I'm hearing a lot of stories about the trail. It's been pretty quiet, but things really started to pick up today. Maybe late morning this morning, people have started to trickle in. And now I think it's going to be a pretty steady stream. What we're seeing is people are leaving Roan on really good trail conditions. I think they're going through Farewell Burn, which tends to not have that much snow. And I think it's pretty good riding through there. And then somewhere around Farewell Lakes, which if you look at a map, you'll see some big lakes on the route, maybe a third of the way from Roan. And that's where they hit the tussocks. And tussock is a mound of cotton grass. They're kind of like a basketball with grass growing all over it. And I read another description of like a mushroom, and you can't stand very well on the mushroom. And so they're super loosey-goosey to walk on, and people are trying to get through those on their bike. So people are pretty thrashed from going through that. It's hours and hours. I think it's taking people, like it took Tyson 15 hours, or Tyson won the men's race, so he's quite speedy. And it took him 15 hours to get to Nikolai from Roan, which is very fast. So I think it's taking people quite a bit longer than that to get here, maybe more like 24 hours. People are taking a break and overnighting at Bear Cabin or bivvying out somewhere along the way. People are pretty thrashed is what I'm seeing. They're talking nonstop about the tussocks. They're tired. They're also excited to get to the finish. Trail conditions out of Nikolai, we've heard are very good. Out of Nikolai going towards McGrath, people are riding mostly on the river, and it's really nice conditions on the river. So these athletes are at least going to get a break after having gone through all those tussocks. We're worried about the foot and ski athletes that are going to be starting to come through pretty soon. A lot of those people are pulling sleds, and we're concerned about what it might be like to pull sleds through all those tussocks. We've heard some of them are thigh high, so big enough that a sled could fall sideways or flip over into them. And most of the people with sleds don't have no easy way of carrying the sled. You could put it up or hold it like this. Some people pack their gear in a backpack, and then they can just put the backpack on with the sled strapped to it. But I didn't see anybody like that at the start, so I'm not sure if anybody has that set up. So people are pretty tired, and they seem to have forgotten about the really nice first part of the trail at this point.
Funny.
What else? Do you have any
so
questions?
Then I assume that, like, in that part, I mean, sometimes it's rideable, and then sometimes you're just like walking.
I think that it's a mix, and there's lakes and wetlands that probably have a fair bit of ice in them, and so they're able to ride quite speedily across sections of it. And then they hit these long sections of tussocks where they can't ride at all. And it's like what I've heard, like you can go really fast, and you go from fast to walking to fast to walking. So it's kind of abrupt changes. And for some people, they're saying it was just easier to just walk through them rather than trying to be kind of like when you're in soft snow conditions and you're off the bike and you keep trying and it doesn't work. I think there was some of that. I can imagine, based on experience in other kinds of difficult conditions, you start to get pretty sore and fatigued from trying to ride the bike through really difficult conditions. It takes a lot of strength to handle a bike when it's super uneven or unpredictable surfaces. I'm guessing like the really strong men probably were riding a lot more of that, and that probably as we get further back in the pack, people are going to be walking a lot more.
Yeah. Tough. And then once people get into the checkpoint, how How long are they staying? Is anyone just like kind of like eating and then leaving, or is
Um,
everyone kind of having to stick around to rest
Most
for a little
people
while?
are hanging. I think people are hanging out and resting for the most part. There's been one person came through and stayed about an hour. Aaron Wilbur was in and out pretty quickly. I'm sure the leaders were probably in and out pretty quickly. But now it looks like right now Kara Oni is here along with Casey Fagerquist and Mike Beer. Mike, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Mike B. I think they might make a quick turnaround here, but for the most part, people are resting for a few hours, trying to get some sleep. We found some mattresses in a closet, so there's some cots and some mattresses for people to rest on. So it's a pretty good spot to take a break for a little while. And it's been pretty quiet. I think it's going to be busy tonight, and that might change things. People might be a little less likely to stay if it's crowded.
And can you talk a little bit about the checkpoint? I mean, obviously it's indoors.
The checkpoint is indoors. It's
indoor
in
plumbing.
the Nikolai Community Center. So it's upstairs of a building, and it's just one big open room. There's a corner on one end that we've set up as a kitchen, but it's pretty basic building. So we've just got some appliances in there, like a George Foreman grill to cook burgers on. So athletes get a couple burgers each, and we have a few different kinds of burgers, and we have oatmeal and a few other snacks. Pretty basic set of snacks and lots of hot drinks. And then there's a big open area where we've got the mattresses set up so people can sleep kind of in one end that's a little bit quieter, and then people can eat and hang out on the other side where it's a little bit noisier, but it is all just one room. There is plumbing, but so we have to go to the clinic down the road to get water. There is no drinking water here. So we could run over there on a snow machine to get buckets of water and keep our water supply going. And then there's one bathroom that's downstairs. So we all have to go downstairs to use the bathroom and be very careful because it is only one toilet. And we want it to survive for another 10 days or 8 days, maybe at this point.
And you brought all the food that you have in with you. It's not like you went to the local Costco in Nikolai to stock up on groceries.
According to the sign at the airport, there are 78 people that live in the village of Nikolai. So I think we are in the building that is the big business. And there's a post office here, I think, downstairs, and a city, kind of like a little city clerk office where people seem to be able to buy fuel. There's a little kind of community room downstairs. It's like a library. So there's books down there and puzzles, and I noticed people have been hanging out in there. I think they use it for meetings for the city. There happened to be some people here from Anchorage that were doing some survey work, and we talked with them, and they had a meeting in that room down there. So this is like I think ground zero for like all the action around here.
Cool.
And then the town is really small. There's an airstrip, but there's not too much here.
And you flew in on a private plane, right? Not on a scheduled commercial flight?
No, it was a commercial flight from Anchorage on Reeve Alaska Air. It has I'm sorry. I flew to McGrath on the commercial flight. And then Kyle, the race director, flew me here in his plane with a bunch of gear.
Yeah. Fun.
So it's pretty hard, I think, to get in and out here. There is a schedule. There's at least one scheduled flight per day. And there was a fuel plane here now. So there's a big Everett's C-130 or something like that came in today. But yeah, mostly it's people running around with snow machines. There's no plowed roads here. So people have snow machines to get around town, and I think ATVs. There's probably some vehicles around, but don't think I've seen yet. I have not seen a vehicle.
Yeah. And of course it's a remote village. You can't just get in the car and drive to Anchorage or Fairbanks or anything.
No. In the winter, the rivers are the highways in the winter. So I think people get around quite a bit. And I bet people go to McGrath to get supplies and things in the winter. I would guess that's the nearest. I would think that's the nearest bigger town. And then there's little villages dotting, I think, throughout the area. Throughout interior Alaska or all of Alaska, there's villages.
And that's one thing that I like about the Nikolai checkpoint that makes it unique is that it's a Alaska Native village of people who are living there, whereas all of the other checkpoints, are either temporary, like Roan, or they're at a lodge. not like in a traditional village that's been there for some period of time with.
Yeah, this is the only village that we
Mm-hmm.
have in the 350-mile race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, McGrath too. I guess the finish in McGrath, is big. McGrath is bigger, but it is a village as well. It's a lot bigger town.
Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting to me about Nikolai is just the history with Russia. Just that Russia used to own Alaska, or Alaska used to be part of Russia.
Right.
And so there's we're at the beginning of the call, we were talking about the Russian Orthodox Church, and obviously the name Nikolai, is a Russian name. So it's kind of cool part of the history to think about.
Yeah, I haven't. Now I don't know much about the village. Now I'm learning more about it slowly. But whenever I've come through here during the race, I've always been wasted and kind of trashed. And half the time I come in or leave in the dark, and I really don't see that much of it. So yeah, this is the first time I've actually explored around town a little bit, and I haven't been far, but I'm excited. And I'm going to be here for another week, so I'll have plenty of time to look around.
Great. And how is the weather today and tonight and tomorrow?
It's gorgeous. It's been beautiful and sunny. I think it was around 0 degrees this morning. But it probably get a bit warmer. I haven't checked, but it's probably 15 or so during the day, and I expect it's going to start cooling off here now. But it's been sunny and gorgeous. The riders have a bit of a tailwind, like a pretty good tailwind actually on the way, sort of a angle coming in from an angle tailwind. It looks nice. It looks nice riding conditions going out of here. Glad for them. They're all coming in so tired from those bumps. I'm glad for them to have nice conditions going out of here.
Yeah, that's great. And leaving Roan, were there any other people who have been seen on the trail? Are there any bison hunter, bison camp or hunters along the trail that anyone's talked about?
I haven't heard about anything. There's been at least one person who was touring the trail who I saw in McGrath before I flew to Nikolai. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I haven't heard of any hunters or heard people talking about meeting random people out there.
Any wildlife encounters or?
No wildlife encounters, which I'll take. I don't like the unhappy moose years on this race, so I haven't heard any moose stories.
And no
bison. I did hear the tussocks had post holes in the mud around the tussocks from the bison, because there's a fair number of bison in the Farewell Burn area, and so it was trying to ride through some kind of tussock bison post hole mud combo. It sounded pretty spectacularly awful, I have to say, and I have been through some awful conditions out there. I'm not I'm okay with missing this.
Great. Good. Great. Well, you're going to be at Nikolai, you said, for another week.
I'm going to be at Nikolai till the 5th, whatever day that is, next Wednesday maybe. Okay. So I'm going to be here, and I probably should go cook some burgers because it sounds like some more people came in.
Yeah. Wonderful. Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you.
Great to hear the stories from Nikolai, and tell everyone hi from me.
Yeah, we'll have more updates in the future.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. Thanks so much. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay. So always fun to hear from folks who are on the ground, talking to the racers, and all of that. So okay, so I have some updates that just to run through from finishers in the 350-mile race, 150-mile race, and then also a drop to talk about. Okay, so yesterday I had mentioned some of the racers who came in. I didn't get to provide much information on them. So Tyson Flaherty from Fairbanks was the winner in the men's 350-mile bike race. He had the second fastest time in the ITI of all time, 1 day, 20 hours, 43 minutes. This is his 4th win and his 6th finish. 5 of those were in the 350 and 1 was in the 1,000. Second place was Clint Hodges from Anchorage, Alaska. He came into McGrath yesterday afternoon with a finish time of, and this is an unofficial finish time, this is off of track leaders, There might be slightly different numbers out there, but 2 days, 19 minutes. And Clint was last year's winner in the 350-mile bike race. And this is his 7th finish in the 350. Tim Brinson is from Anchorage and formerly of Duluth, Minnesota. He finished in 2 days, 3 hours, 18 minutes. He was the former men's bike champ in 2016, and he's a 5-time finisher in the 350. He finished at the exact same time as John Lackey. It appears that they finished together. John is from Bellingham, Washington, and formerly of Alaska. One thing I've heard is that his electronic shifting died at some point during the race, so he rode single speed for a large portion of the race. This is his 6th finish, and he was the winner in 2015 and is the current course record holder. Then this morning, Lael Wilcox was the women's 350-mile bike race winner. And she has the 3rd fastest time in race history. That's 2 days, 11 hours, 20 minutes. And she won the women's race last year, so now she's 2 for 2. Pretty cool. After that, Aaron Wilbur from Fairbanks, Alaska, finished. This is his 3rd finish in the 350-mile race. 2 days, 14 hours, 35 minutes. Going into the race, his goal was to hit 1.5 times the winning time, or just under 3 days if conditions are perfect. So, he definitely nailed that with 9.5 hours to spare. So great job on that, Aaron. He says the White Mountains north of Fairbanks are the best place to train. And the trail feels like home. He feels more in his element out there than anywhere else. And the best version of himself comes alive when he's out there. So very cool. After that, there were 3 racers who finished together: Kate Coward, Patrick Sars, and Brian Stone. Kate Coward is from Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is her 2nd finish, and she won in 2020. She was the 2nd biker in the 350, and she finished this morning at 10:06 a.m. She's the 6th fastest, or has the 6th fastest recorded time biking to McGrath. And with that, she joins a very exclusive group of women who have biked to McGrath in less than 3 days. So Heather Best was the first woman to bike in less than 3 days to McGrath in 2014, followed by Tracy Peterberry in 2015, Lael Wilcox this morning, and then now Kate Coward late this morning. So 4 women have done the bike in less than 3 days. So very impressive. She's a good friend of mine. I also live in Minnesota. And around here, she's known for just really crushing everything she does, winning races outright. One of the things that I admire about her is how she's able to be so focused and dig so deep. So, I'm sure she left it all out there and did absolutely everything she could have. So kudos to Kate. Very proud of her. So like I said, she finished with Patrick and Brian. Patrick Sars is a rookie from Fairbanks. Brian Stone is, I believe, is from Alaska, and this is his 2nd finish in the 350. They were followed by Carl Schiller, who's a rookie from New Zealand. He was followed by Mike Monterusso, a rookie from Anchorage. His goal was 4 days or less, so he definitely did that and then some. His favorite trail food and least favorite trail food is Doritos. And it took him over 50 years to get to this point, so there's no stopping him now. After that was Timothy Lee. He's a rookie from Anchorage. His favorite food is, or at least going into the race, his favorite food was peanut butter and honey on white bread. The cheaper, the better. He was looking forward to the challenge of the trail and experiencing Alaska in a way that he hadn't before. His partner is Carol, who is on this YouTube recording, I think 2 nights ago. So she thinks that maybe Tim was looking forward to understanding the obsession of ITI that's held by her and her friends. So as of now, he was the last finisher, and there's, a number more on their way in. And so I will, talk about them after they get in. There have been 2 finishers in the 150, so that's ending at Puntilla. Munzie, or Jason Munz, finished yesterday. I mentioned him. And then Grammy Head finished today. There's a couple more on their way in. And then we heard that there was a drop. Cheryl Wallace dropped from Finger Lake, and she was a race veteran. She was here in 2020 when she had bad luck with a moose in that year. That was a deep snow year, and the moose were aggressive that year. And so we were told a story by our friend Nan Pug. She said that Cheryl was in a horrible car crash 2.5 years ago. 2 years ago, her goal was to walk before the ITI, or before the start of the ITI, and now here she is. So kudos to Cheryl for getting all the way there. Very proud of you. So let's see here. And some of the other news around the trail is those two fellows who took the long route around Rainy Pass, encountered some water and decided to turn around. That's Cameron Ramey and Philip Brody. I saw a video of them from Roan, and I believe it was Cameron, and he seemed to be able to kind of like shrug off the extra miles. He didn't seem too distraught by it. So that's good that he's kind of taking it all in stride. So I think that's it for tonight. There is a lot more info available out there. There's going to be the Wild Winter Women write-up that's going to be put out tonight on the Iditarod Trail Invitational website. So that's itialaska.com, and then clicking on the news section. Also, that'll go other places on social media, and Wild Winter Women on Instagram and stories, posts, and reels. Also, Iditarod Trail Invitational on Instagram and Facebook has a lot of great information on there too. I'm looking for feedback. I'm curious to know what you're interested in hearing about, what questions you have, and what do you want to hear about in a future episode, or are there certain people we should ask to be talking to in future episodes? So any feedback we can get is appreciated. So hope you all have a great evening, and we'll be in touch tomorrow. Thanks so much.